all the speculation was out there. Now we know we're getting it for real this time. It is going to be Uso versus Uso at WrestleMania 40. That was made official on this week's edition of Monday Night Raw as Jimmy Uso costs Jey Uso the chance to break the 600-plus day historic reign of Gunther as Intercontinental Champion. Just when you thought Jey had a chance to be the one to break the streak, Jimmy, in his hooded sweatshirt, comes over, rings the bell just as Jey is pinning Gunther. Of course, he doesn't do it because Jey won. He did it to distract Jey, and that led to the interaction between the two, which eventually led to Gunther catching Jimmy off the top rope and getting him the roll-up pin to retain the championship. So this is one that had been teased for a while. We knew, the reports had been out there for months now. Like, we just had a really good feeling they're going to get to Jimmy and Jey. And when you saw them start the Royal Rumble, I'll admit, I was a little underwhelmed by the path they went at the Royal Rumble because I'm like, if you're going to have these two guys start 1 and 2, maybe give us a little bit more, right? Like, give us a little bit more to kind of sink our teeth into to get ready for this match, leading into WrestleMania 40. But they didn't really do anything in the Rumble that I thought was that significant to make us think that this was the obvious direction that they were going, even if we had a pretty good idea they were going to get there somehow. And then, of course, they're on separate brands, all this other stuff. But, hey, throw out the brand split these days. It doesn't matter. Just get everybody on every show that you can, and you wind up having Jimmy kind of, run his way into Raw, which I think is fine. Like, I understand the brand split. Like, he can't be on this show. It wasn't like he was an official guest of the show, I guess you could say. So the Bloodline doing whatever they want to do is nothing new. But you did have Jimmy cost Jey the opportunity, and I thought it was a really nice little touch earlier in the night, or maybe it's right before the match. I don't remember. It all runs together sometimes in a 3-hour Raw. But you had Gunther in the promo that he cut, kind of little video package that they did, saying that this was, the most important match of Jey's career in terms of getting that opportunity to get the singles championship in WWE. And so really pushing how much this meant to Jey. And then what do? You have his brother take it all away from him by costing him that match and costing him that shot at the championship. And so now it's not been made official yet. We know it is going to be made official. It will be these two squaring off at WrestleMania 40. And as other people have pointed out, the more you look at this, right, think about how many times now that Jimmy Uso has cost Jey an opportunity to be a champion, right? We go all the way back to SummerSlam last year against Roman Reigns. He's had the opportunity here against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. There were tag team championship situation that was cost by Jimmy. I think someone else pointed out that the U.S. title situation, I'll be honest, I don't remember that one specifically, but I'm sure it was there. Just, again, sometimes you watch so much wrestling and it all runs together. But the bigger point is that Jimmy has seemingly cost Jey at every single turn when it comes to getting a chance to sort of cement himself as a singles champion or as a legitimate top singles guy outside of just the long-standing team that he had with Jimmy. And so now, through the history of everything with the Bloodline, these two have been joined at the hip forever, right, in WWE in one shape or form. Like, they've either been on the same side, they've not been on the same side recently. But now what does it do? It sets up the long-awaited singles match at WrestleMania, which quickly, I think other people have pointed out, there have been multiple of those brother versus brother matches at WrestleMania. Of course, the best one I think that you'll ever see was Bret Hart versus Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10. Kane versus The Undertaker has to count, right? They were brothers. They had a match. I don't think it was quite to the level of Bret and Owen, but you had the Hardys face off with each other before. And so, yeah, now you're going to have the Usos square off one-on-one at WrestleMania 40. And now it gives Jey Uso no choice. He has to triumph over his own brother at WrestleMania in order to get his revenge. He has to take out his own brother. He has no choice now. Jimmy has made sure that Jey has always been kind of right there, right? Like Jey's had no choice. He can't ignore what's going on now with Jimmy. He can't ignore anything with the Bloodline. He's back in. He's got to go at this, head first, right back into the belly of the beast, I guess you could say, with the Bloodline. And so now, just when he thought maybe he was away from everything on Raw, Jimmy has not stopped. He's continued to antagonize his brother, and now it's reached a boiling point. Jey has to, again, go forward here. Was it like the hero's journey, right? Jey's got to move forward. He's got to go to the next step. And like it or not, this is the point of no return for Jey Uso. He's going to have to fight his brother, and he's going to have to do it on the biggest stage in professional wrestling at WrestleMania. And so I think this is a really fun setup. I've seen people kind of point out, hey, this is some of the singles matches that, the Jey Roman match, I think at SummerSlam last year, probably didn't meet expectations for a lot of people. Jimmy's singles matches, I think you need kind of more of that story to pull it in. And I think this is where it really has an opportunity to be a really good match because you've got the story now. Some of these other matches maybe have just been there to serve a purpose, right? It's just serving the purpose of the bloodline. In some of these matches, there hasn't really been a whole lot coming out of them that you could really just kind of get invested in because you all know it's kind of just Roman Reigns pulling the strings. And some of these matches Jimmy's been in, he's just been there just to kind of be, the pawn for Roman Reigns. Jey, meanwhile, has kind of been establishing himself on Raw, getting all these opportunities. He's had big matches, whether it's the World Championship, whether it's an Intercontinental Championship against Gunther. But now this is one that can really, from a story standpoint, WWE, you know how good they are at the presentation aspects of things. You know how good Triple H is at those tiny little details that we always point out. I mean, even look at the video I did on The Rock, right? And the promo that they did on SmackDown. It's those tiny little things. And you can't tell me that WWE is not going to put together one of their best video packages they've done in a while, maybe, with this brother versus brother rivalry match at WrestleMania 40. I think they will do a terrific job with that because, again, these are the things that it's the presentation aspect, right? It's the storytelling. It's those things. You got to have it all to really get something special. You can't just have one or the other. You got to have everything. And I think they've got all the resources here to make this thing feel huge and add to what is only a really loaded WrestleMania 40 card. We're going to do a video on that soon enough, kind of looking at the updated and projected WrestleMania 40 card, and they could make it special just based on how people are fully invested in Jey Uso. You saw it. Look at the near falls against Gunther on this Raw, right? People, he had him thinking he was about to be the one to break the streak of Gunther. It didn't happen because of his brother, and now Jey Uso has no choice but to go forward, and he's got to destroy his own blood, Jimmy Uso, if he wants to get to where he wants to go now, outside of the bloodline. It's going to have to go through Jimmy, and Jimmy has left him no choice as we head into WrestleMania 40. Let me know what you think about this Uso versus Uso battle coming up in Philadelphia at WrestleMania 40. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. New channel here. Just enjoy talking professional wrestling with you guys. Always love the feedback. Let me know what you think and your predictions for the Uso versus Uso match at WrestleMania 40.